trunk, I open up, I sold my soul a good price. Out of sight, my hoe got talent.
The higher up the ranks you go in Rocket League, the more important team play becomes. You might get better with every hour you practice, but so do your opponents. So while you think you can climb all the way to Grand Champ by being a great solo player, at some point the other team will start successfully defending a lot more of your shots. So, knowing how and when to pass the ball gives you more room to work your way around the defense and open up easier shots. And just a quick note before we jump in, you do not need to be in a party with someone to consider passing them the ball. Since I started playing on the PC, I've played solo queue every single game. If your teammates know even the basics about positioning and you know how to pass a decent ball, you'll give yourself more opportunities to use teammates to move the ball around the field without having to go at it alone. So how do you effectively pass the ball? Well, there are a few different ways you can pass the ball to a teammate. You can either pass it along the ground, pass it off the wall or backboard, or lob it into the air. Now the simplest of these is a ground pass. There are many opportunities in-game to pass the ball along the ground, and it is often one of the most effective moves you can make. There will be many times where you find that you don't have an open shot on net because either the angle is too tight or a defender is in a good position to block your shot. This is when a ground pass will come in handy. Instead of taking the shot and hoping the defender will make a mistake, you can turn and push the ball backwards towards a teammate to not only give them some power behind the ball, but to open up a new angle on the goal and maybe even draw a defender in that tries to challenge you. I find myself pushing the ball back to my teammate whenever I'm up front with that boost, because I know if I try and go for a shot with low power, I'll get caught up the field as my opponents take the ball back into my own half for a 2v1. By pushing the ball back to a teammate instead, they get a harder hit on the ball, make more of an unpredictable shot, and helps me to put myself in a better position to either get back and defend or be ready for a rebound. It's also useful to note that while you can pass the ball directly back to a teammate, another very useful ground pass is to put the ball into space, or a through ball. Passing the ball to where your teammate will be and not where they are right now gives them room to get around a defender and score an easy breakaway goal. Next up we have passes off the wall or backboard. Now this kind of pass can be especially hard to defend while you're in the lower ranks. While a lot of the time these passes happen by accident, if you get the hang of weighting the ball properly, you can pull off deadly passes that split the defense in half. These kinds of passes can also be used when you haven't got a clean shot on net. If you feel you can't score by yourself, you can try hitting the ball off the backboard lightly so that it falls in front of the goal and provides a teammate with a harder shot to defend. If the opponents are expecting you to shoot first time and then you put it over them to the backboard, they then have to quickly readjust to go up for an aerial clear, which either forces them to make an uncomfortable save or wait in net for your teammate to take an almost unstoppable shot on goal. Passing off the walls can be used whenever you can see a teammate is open but you aren't able to turn in time. I find myself doing this a lot when I'm driving the ball down the sides of the field. You can either pass off the wall by simply hitting the ball into the wall and letting it bounce off towards a teammate, or by taking the ball up the wall with you and using your momentum and/or flip to push the ball towards the middle of the field. These kinds of passes can send the ball from one end of the field to the other with enough power behind them, which makes them not only a valuable passing technique, but also helps you clear the ball for a counter-attack. Lobbing the ball into the air can be pretty hard to judge when you start off, but with a little bit of practice you can weight passes accurately and directly to where your teammate will be. This kind of pass is the one you definitely want to be using to put the ball ahead of your teammate so they get enough power behind the ball when they go up for a shot. You need to judge where your teammate is on the field and how far away they are from the goal. Then you'll want to push the ball around 3/4 of the distance between the two, so more towards the goal than your teammate. This gives your teammate room to move towards the goal and get a shot off that is already quite close to the goal. If you want them to get an early shot off, push the ball more around the halfway mark so they don't have to travel as far. These kinds of passes are useful for counter-attacks where your opponents aren't back in defense in time. An easy way to pull off these kinds of lob passes is to either drive into the ball directly without flipping so the ball has very little downward momentum, or by hitting the ball directly after the ball is bounced, so that way the ball begins to travel upwards just before you hit it, then takes that momentum forward when you pass it. Passes will take you far in this game. They are one of the key differences between a good and a great player. Remember that even if you are solo queuing doubles or threes, you still have teammates to work with, and once you start opening up your game and passing around, you'll find your gameplay significantly improving. Alrighty, so that is everything from me today. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future uploads. That's all from me. I'll see you next time.